over the course of the last 2.5, 3 years, we introduced, for example, a bond called the Boss Bond. You remember that? And it was directed primarily at the public sector. In order for us to continue to play the role that we are playing as a government, and let's be very clear, the government has had to carry the burden of adjustment since the beginning of COVID, and understandably so, because if the private sector has no revenue coming in the tourism sector, then the implications of that for the farmers, as we saw with the pork industry in particular, the implications of that for the distributors and the retailers, the implications of that for the people who drive trucks, the implications of that for labor were very, very clear. We have a situation where we have excess liquidity in this country, serious excess liquidity. And we leave that money in the bank and making cash effectively irrelevant. Because if it is getting 0.01%, it is being outstripped by inflation many times. We have, as a government, if we're going to carry the load that we're carrying, we have not stopped free education. We have expanded our spend in public health and health care. We have continued our infrastructure works. We've done all of the things that you expect us to do. But we also need Barbadians now to step up to the plate and to help finance their own country. When we introduced the Boss Bonds, we made it very clear that they would not be subject to any form of restructuring. And indeed, we did exceptionally well with the Boss Bonds. After consideration, we have now agreed that we will launch in the next few weeks again Boss Plus. The difference is that Boss Plus this time will not just be the public sector, but will be all Barbadians or all people living in this country, all institutions operating in this country. And the truth is that we feel that in the absence of the government does not regularly issue treasury bills or treasury bonds anymore recently, in the absence of aggressive capital market, that we need to also not only help finance government's operations, but to give you better options for your future as to what you can get as returns, so that you get two for the price of one. You get a better rate of return, and you also get the opportunity of stabilizing the conditions in your country. And you know, I can talk straight all the time. Government's financing of its own program, especially at this time, irrespective of what we do with the international financial institutions, is contingent, as we said with the BOSS program, on people stepping up to the plate and helping to carry their own country. So that the BOSS Plus program will be launched, and we hope that this will become a regular feature of government financing in this country. We've tried to do all of the things to put us in a strong fiscally stable position. You have the imprimatur of independent entities, not just the Birth Monitoring Committee, but you have the imprimatur of the IMF, which, as you know, has basically said that we've continued to do all of the right things. And you've also had the judgment of the international financial and credit rating agencies, who have, in every instance, since this government has come to power, we have seen an improvement in our credit rating from what we inherited. But in addition to that, we continue, even in these difficult times, to have them reflect on Barbados with a stable outlook as opposed to a negative outlook, which has been the judgment that they've passed on many other countries. So if ever there was a time for Barbadians to step up to the plate, the private sector has led the way today by coming forward and showing that they are prepared to leave something on the table. I have no doubt that the labor movement, as they have always done over the course of our history of 80 years, has always played its part in this country. And that does not mean, as I said, that we're not going to review allowances or review things where we know that there's a distinct injustice. But similarly now, I need the average Barbadian household to play their part. And whether it is $20 or $50 or $200 or $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 Mr. Anis a month, whatever it is, I met companies as well, or more. We believe that now is the time for us to understand that we are all in this together.